Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to
Hello.
another episode of Macabre and Company. My name is George.
And I'm Erica.
Woo! On our
Hi.
Trans-Pacific podcast, coming to you from Palm Springs and Australia. Well, so for those of you that are watching on YouTube, or Patreon, wherever you're watching it, if you're watching it visually, it's a little clue as to what we're going to be discussing today, in this episode. Um, but we'll get into that a little bit more. So have a little think about what you're seeing. Take a look. Is there any clues in the background? It's going to be a really fun episode. I got
Mm,
all my notes ready, but we want to do a special shout out to our newest Patreon member, Amy, who we will actually be doing a little drawing for from our beautiful deck of Crow Tarot cards. Erica, who is Amy to you?
Amy is a great friend of mine, and she's such a super sweet queen. She's starting a new adventure today, so I think I'll like keep her in our thoughts and send her love.
Beautiful. I love that. Let's talk about the card that I drew, channeling Amy's energies today. We drew a card called the Empress. So for those of you watching online, here is the Empress card here. I chose my Crow deck today. This is the Empress right
Ooh.
here. And the Empress represents motherhood, abundance, business success, and creativity. It's an Earth element card. And the Empress flies over the abundant, lush landscape of Mother Earth. She's uplifted by the warmth that radiates from her connectedness with the planets, a very spiritual nature, Mother Earth loving person. The Empress loves to send messages, to take time to pamper yourself, and to embrace the feminine energy within all of us. Her spirit is pure of love and bringing things to life. She asks you to go into nature and feel the soothing and healing power that invigorates the soul. When the Empress pays you a visit, Amy, she may be bringing a message of a new birth. Maybe you don't want to hear that right now. It could be a family member, might not necessarily be a new birth for you. The Empress is a powerful queen. She does represent business success, but she represents hard work too. So she's saying whatever you do, put in the hard work and the creativity, think out of the box, be creative in your thinking and your actions, and you will be filled with success, and prosperity. It's a great card, particularly when you're starting a new adventure, like Erica mentioned. So, good luck, Amy, on your path, on your new journey, wherever that may take you. And I will send Erica a photograph of this card, and she can send it on to you. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the beautiful state of Pennsylvania, particularly Philadelphia. So there's two really cool places in Philadelphia, and I was back in the day on the original seasons of American Horror Story a big fan. My favorite season is Asylum. It was really cool from a young age. I've always had this fear of being locked up. Like I have a huge fear of prison. Not that I do anything illegal, I never do. But I've always had just a fear of it. Like it really intrigues me. I understand that the reason behind prisons and stuff, right, is it's to kind of scare people off from doing bad things, but people do, and then some people live their lives there. But back in the day, they were a lot worse. And actually, in Philadelphia, there's two pretty crazy properties, both opened at different times, but both have pretty grim history. And we're going to start by talking about the one that I am sitting in right now. We are going to talk about the Eastern State Penitentiary. So
I'm so
I,
excited.
I just got chills, look, all the way up my arm. There's a ghost in the room. So built in 1929 in Philadelphia, Eastern State Penitentiary was hailed as a revolutionary experiment in penology. Designed by architect John Haviland, or Haviland, it was intended to reform inmates through solitary confinement and religious instruction. So back in the day, a lot of these places, I feel like the world is a religious place, obviously, but these places really base their reform and their practices on religion. A lot of them. They called it the penitence model, and it was meant to encourage reflection and repentance. But what emerged from that was kind of like a nightmarish reality for many people because not everybody is religious. These institutions blamed these illnesses for the fact that people weren't religious or connected with God. And it kind of messed with people. But there's so much dark history in Eastern State Penitentiary, not only from the inmates, but things that have gone on there. And I actually have a really gruesome story right here. But the prison's design was daunting, but it was also innovative. It featured sprawling radial layout with a central hub from which cell blocks radiated, resembling the spokes of a wheel, right? Kind of like a clock. Each cell was equipped with a small window and a tiny exercise yard intended to give inmates a sense of isolation and reflection. But this isolation often led to even worse psychological distress than what they already went in with. Like it's really like a vicious circle, right? People are like
Yeah.
not doing great, so
People
we're
are
gonna
not getting
lock
the
them
help.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just
And
wasn't
then
the
they just get
greatest.
worse and worse. And
Pretty spooky. And these places, like the architecture of these places as well, we'll put some pictures up on our Patreon. Obviously, y'all have funds and you can Google it, but take a look. Like these places are just like scary looking buildings from inception, like from the moment they were designed. Like I kind of feel like the people that designed these buildings wanted them to look a little scary because they knew what was going to happen on the inside.
that just could be totally true. Like people are sinister.
Yeah, it's because I mean, you think about it as well, that, it was to kind of like scare people off from doing things to get put in there, maybe. I don't know. Eastern State Penitentiary housed a variety of notorious criminals, whose lives and crimes still echo through the walls. Some of them are really famous, some of them not as famous. Some stories have kind of died off. One of the most famous inmates was Al Capone, the notorious Chicago gangster. He was in prison there from 1929 to 1930, and his stay was marked as a surprising degree of comfort compared to other inmates. So take a look at the room I am virtually sitting in right now. And if you're listening on our podcast, my virtual background is actually a picture of Al Capone's cell. Now, he was a gangster,
That's
right?
so cool.
Yeah, this is like a recreation model of it, but that's actually there that you can go and see. But he had all these luxury items, like he had a writing desk where he would write letters to his partners in crime and to these people. He was delivered lots of stuff. He had not the nicest furniture in the world, but he was allowed to be delivered. They delivered him some furniture in there. Obviously, he's like a crooked guy. Like he was huge. People were scared of him. He probably paid off the wardens and such. Um, he lived in a luxurious cell, complete with ornate furnishings, carpet. It earned him the nickname Scarface, obviously, although he was already well known for his ruthless criminal empire. Another notorious figure was Willie Sutton, a master bank robber with a talent for escape. Sutton, who became a legendary figure in American crime, was known for his daring heists and numerous escapes from other prisons. Like this guy used to get out, get in and get out. His time at Eastern State was marked by multiple escape attempts, underscoring the prison's reputation for being both a formidable and flawed institution. So it wasn't the great known for being the greatest institution. It was kind of known for its bad kind of surroundings and its bad environment for the inmates. There was actually quite a lot of people. Where's my list? I have some really cool, well, really cool people. They weren't cool people. They were pretty mean people. But George Machine Gun Kelly was in there, a prominent gangster in the Prohibition era. He was imprisoned in there in the 1930s. Kelly was known for kidnapping and organized crime. Joseph Doc Tucker, a notorious criminal and key figure in organized crime too, was housed there in the 1900s, the early 1900s before it closed. Eddie the Cat Daw, known for various crimes. James Whitey Bulger. Did you watch Black Mass?
Heard about it. I need to watch Black Mass.
It's a really good film. He was in Eastern State in the early 1950s. Alvin Creepy Karpis, a criminal and one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives. Karpis was imprisoned in Eastern State in the 1930s. He was involved in bank robberies, kidnappings, and other serious crimes. The list continues. But a lot of really high profile criminals that have had a lot of writings about them and that sort of stuff.
Do you think they had like a club, like with all when were they all in at the same time? Well, I guess not at the same time, but like I don't know, just imagine.
I'm sure some of them
Imagine the guys club, but
overlapped.
they yes.
Yeah, I'm sure some of them overlapped, and I'm sure some of them knew of each other too. Obviously, if you're like in that criminal ring,
Mhm.
like the whole kind of
Yeah.
mafia experience kind of thing.
Like,
Anyway,
would the prison have had to think about like keeping them apart and stuff? Like, surely they were just like, here, you're all in Gen Pop, like, go be mobsters together.
well, like that's why it's like known for solitary confinement, right? These people were like locked in there. There was like a small workout yard, but they didn't get to go out at the same time. They were being kept in their cells. And the whole kind of clock idea of it and mentality is like the central hub in the middle, but then there's like corridors off to the cells. So they can't even interact through the cell doors and stuff.
Oh, I get it. Okay, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. So it wasn't just famous criminals though who experienced the harsh realities of Eastern State. The prison was infamous for its brutal treatment and harsh conditions. The concept of solitary confinement intended to reform, but instead it often led to severe mental health issues. Inmates spent years in isolation, leading to profound psychological damage, including hallucinations and paranoia. Were they hallucinations, or is the place like fucking haunted?
Oh my gosh, it's totally haunted. It's
Yeah,
totally
the prison's
haunted.
dark reputation was further solidified by accounts of inmates suffering from extreme loneliness and despair. Cut to us being like, can you just put us in the penitentiary for like a week? Just so we don't have to talk to anyone.
I just need a little solitary confinement, please. Thank
Just a week,
you.
please, in a scary room alone. So, the Eastern States Penitentiary's history is a chilling reminder of the extremes of penal philosophy and the impact it had on those confined within its walls. The prison was closed in 1971, and since then has become a historic site and a popular destination for those fascinated by its eerie past. You're gonna love
Oh,
this. It is
we're going.
now
We're going. Field trip.
it is now a haunted attraction. Chills again.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going.
Visitors
We're going.
today can explore its hauntingly silent cell blocks and learn about the prison's storied history through guided tours and exhibits. As we reflect on the tales of Eastern State Penitentiary and its infinite inmates, we're reminded of the profound impact it had on these people, but also on institutions across the world. Like, it's famous because of how bad it was, but also because of those who dwelled within its walls. And yeah, it's actually insane that these people were in there. And like to look at pictures and look through it, it looks really creepy. I can't imagine it looked very different to what it does today back then. Apparently, it didn't. It was very basic inside. They didn't put any frills on it apart from in Al Capone's cabin. Sorry, cell, apparently. But here we go, though, with a little bit of a paranormal twist. Are you ready? A little
I am
delay.
so ready. I'm so excited.
The history of Eastern State goes beyond its infamous residents. The prison is also renowned for its eerie atmosphere and claims of paranormal activity. Since its closure in 1971, Eastern State Penitentiary has become a hotspot for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. Visitors and staff alike have reported a wide range of unsettling experiences. One of the most commonly reported phenomena was the sighting of shadowy figures and ghostly apparitions wandering the cell blocks. Many have claimed to see spectral figures of former inmates roaming the corridors, their presence marked by an inexplicable chill in the air. The prison cell blocks, particularly cell block 12, are notorious for strange occurrences. Visitors have reported hearing disembodied whispers and footsteps echoing through the abandoned hallways. I've got a couple of chilling stories regarding the history there. So, one of the most famous prisoners in there was a gentleman called Joseph Taylor. This is one of the more gruesome stories that involves this guy. His name is Joseph Taylor. Taylor was convicted of murder, but he became obsessed with another inmate named Michael O'Brien. Gay.
Gay. We
In
love some gay stuff.
in 1884, Taylor's mental health started deteriorating to such an extent that he believed that O'Brien was mocking him. He didn't really fancy him. He just believed that the other guy was mocking him. And in a fit of rage, Taylor attacked O'Brien in their cramped shared cell with a sharp tool that he'd fashioned from scrap metal. He shivved him.
Oh my gosh, how did he get to some scrap metal though? Like
I
somebody needs
mean,
to be watching these guys.
yeah, but probably from like the bed or like the springs of the mat. I'm sure there was something. They must
Oh,
have had like something, maybe found something in the yard. I don't know.
yeah, I'm picturing him just like creeping up to a pile of scrap metal, being like, yoink. But I guess that's a little more cartoony.
In a fit of rage, he attacked him in their cell, and the attack was relentless. Taylor bludgeoned O'Brien to death with the shiv, splattering blood across the cold stone walls. And after killing O'Brien, Taylor calmly laid down in his bed, covered in the blood of his victim, waiting for the guards to find him. The incident was not just another violent attack within the penitentiary. It highlighted the psychological effects that we were talking about earlier and the extreme isolation in the penitentiary imposed on the inmates. Now, the weird thing is with this is both Joseph Taylor and Michael O'Brien are two of the ghosts that are apparently seen around there. People tell stories of hearing a fight and a scuffle coming from the cell, hearing the rattling of a shiv hitting the floor and hearing the screams of someone being hurt in the distance. And when you
Oh
get to the
my
cell, there's no one in
gosh.
there. Like the echoes of history.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, there's also another particular chilling story that involves a former prison guard who claimed to have witnessed a ghostly figure standing at the end of a hallway, only for it to vanish upon his approach. Others have described feelings of being watched or touched by unseen hands. Apparently, the eerie silence of the prison, combined with its dark history of isolation and suffering, seems to amplify these supernatural experiences as well. A lot of spirits with a lot of leftover energies, a lot of unfinished business. It's kind of like they were locked up in there and then they died in there, and so their spirits just stayed there because they are destined to spend eternity in their
just
cell.
like just in their cell forever,
Yeah.
fighting with each other for all eternity.
Oof. The
Talk about a
prison's eerie
prison
atmosphere.
sentence.
Boom. Talk about a prison sentence. But the prison's eerie atmosphere is also heightened by its deteriorating state. The decaying walls, crumbling cell blocks, and long abandoned exercise yard create a hauntingly beautiful setting that fuels the imagination. I think when you go places like this, you get amped up, and I know they say that we hear things when we're thinking about it. It's like being sat in a dark room on your own in like a strange house, right? In like an Airbnb, and you're like alone, and you're like, what was that? I guess that kind of it's the same. You kind of build yourself up. But I also believe that, when you go in these places, we're human and we all have that energy. It depends. It connects with other people. But if you're like in sync with that kind of, energy, then you're gonna recognize the energy. So whether
Yeah.
you believe it or not in ghosts, it's still a really spooky place. I'm sure it's definitely haunted.
Oh my gosh, so haunted. How could it not be so haunted?
How could it not?
Oh my gosh. Do you think that Al Capone can haunt different places? Like, is he like haunting this prison and then another prison and then like the families of his least favorite victims? Like, does he have a ghostly schedule? Because I think if I were Al Capone, I would be like on a mission.
I definitely think he's probably scheduled. I'm sure he was organized crime, right? So he's already organized. So probably I was actually watching this one of the many like ghost shows that I watch, like paranormal caught on camera, and a lot of people like there's a lot of places that say, especially like Hollywood, even out here in Palm Springs, that people are like they say that like Frank Sinatra haunts these walls or Marilyn Monroe, but you're like, well, maybe they can. Maybe they visit multiple places that they've been. I imagine like being a ghost, like you die, you can still do stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
I hope
honestly like
so.
sometimes I think I'm like, I wonder if like people that maybe have died in this house die and then they're like, well, I still live here, but then we move in kind of like American Horror Story, and maybe they're like living here. Maybe like
Yeah.
me and Ian like shared the bed with like a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you're like rolling over into a little cold patch. You're like, woo, there's George the
Yeah,
first. I don't know why I
right?
can think of another name other than
George the
yours.
First. Very accurate historical ghost for Palm Springs, California. George the First was definitely here. But we have a second property to talk about because Philadelphia
Ooh,
is kind of known for this. So let's look at the dates again. So Eastern State closed in 19, did I say 1978?
71, I thought, but I
1971. Now there was an overlap with another place. This place is called Penhurst State School and Hospital, and it's located in Spring City, Pennsylvania. So not that far away. And it was established in 1908.
a school and hospital. I'm sorry, but like that doesn't sound promising.
Yeah. It was established in 1908 with the intention of providing care for individuals with intellectual disabilities. However, what began as a hopeful endeavor soon became a nightmarish reality for many of its residents. The
Oh
facility,
no.
yeah, the facility was initially known as Pennsylvania Training School for Feeble-Minded Children, and it was designed to house thousands of patients. But it quickly became notorious for its overcrowding and deplorable condition. Yeah.
Also,
Like,
like that's you can't call people feeble-minded anymore.
no, I
That's
know,
rude.
but that's what it was first called. Maybe we
Yeah,
bleeped that
in the
out.
70s? No, that's historical. That's what it was called in the 70s.
No, no,
We
in like
oh
1908.
oh in
1908.
1908. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
In
yeah, yeah,
historically, that's what it was called. We don't believe that. We don't stand for that, but that's
yeah.
what it was called.
So the reason why they kind of overlap and the stories are connected is when Penhurst opened, they had advisors and they put together a council of people that could come in and help build this facility. But what they decided to do for some really strange reason is bring people that had worked at Eastern State Penitentiary and had built out that over to help with the conditions. Now, if you think about it, you're like, hang on a minute. Eastern State was known for being a terrible place. Like, it was known for being dirty, tiny cells, like people are going crazy and they're crazier than they already were.
Right. So
But
why are you like, hey, let's do that again? You guys did such a great job of making a terrible place.
yeah,
Let's do it for the
let's
kids.
let's do it for the kids, especially now. Like, it didn't work for Al Capone. Let's make it not work for the children.
Oh
Terrible.
my gosh.
So the architecture of Penhurst, with its massive and imposing buildings, was meant to reflect the seriousness of its purpose. So then again, we're going back to how these properties are designed to kind of scare people, put a little bit of fear in them. Before even entering the building, you know, shit, this is a serious place. They've got a serious mission. But kind of also to intimidate people, I think, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, behind the grand exterior of the property from the outside, it was grand, it was intimidating, but huge buildings like that, particularly back then, were just people were in awe of them and in awe of architecture. But behind closed doors, it was a really dark, deplorable place too. And it really had a grim reality behind those doors. Over the years, Penhurst was plagued by severe overcrowding, inadequate medical care, and unsanitary living conditions, and patients were often confined in small dark rooms with minimal supervision, and many suffered from neglect and abuse from other inmates, but also from the people that work there that were supposed to be caring for them.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like what was going to happen.
Yeah. The conditions at Penhurst were brought to light in the 1960s and 1970s. So this is very reminiscent of Asylum, like American Horror Story Asylum.
Yeah. So and that like, did you ever see that true the where like Banksy kind of came from and Geraldo like went on and exposing this New York sanitarium and took a camera in and you saw all the patients like near death.
Gosh,
Oh,
I've not seen that.
it's so rough. This is a bit of a side mission, but yeah, well,
Where
oh,
that's
it's rough.
a move. It's a documentary.
Yeah,
Oh my
he
God,
like
I need to watch that
he
tonight.
you absolutely need to. I'll find out what it's called.
Yeah, please do. Well, so the most significant exposure came from journalist Geraldo Rivera. That's who you're talking about?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's
Did I
called,
just ruin the rest of
yeah.
your story?
No, you didn't. I thought you were talking about a different one. This one is called Willowbrook, The Last Grace Disgrace.
Yes, that's it.
Willowbrook. It shed light on similar abuses at another facility, but it was instrumental in rallying public outrage against Penhurst as well.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
I'm
It
definitely going to
is
watch that.
you've got to. It's a rough watch.
The shocking footage from that and accounts of the inhumane treatment and squalid living conditions at Penhurst galvanized efforts for reform and led to a major lawsuit. The legal battle, I can't get my words out today. The legal battle, Haldeman versus Penhurst State School and Hospital, resulted in a landmark ruling in 1977 that declared the conditions at Penhurst unconstitutional. The court found that treatment of residents violated their basic human rights, leading to the facility's eventual closure in 1987.
87, that's a long time that they were up to no good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
But
87 is
this,
so recent. That's also
yeah,
like we were alive. Like this is not that long ago
I was born in
without
88.
aging myself.
But you know what's kind of
Okay, I was
cool?
alive.
Do you know what's kind of cool though? I feel like potentially maybe I'm a reincarnated spirit from the Penitentiaries facility. That's why I have this fear of like asylums and stuff.
Oh my gosh, maybe you are.
I want to do
And
like a
what a
past
great,
life regression session. I've
yes.
never done one
Yeah.
before.
Can we do it virtually and record it for everyone?
Let's try and find side note and we can edit this out or we can leave it in because maybe our
Leave
listeners
it
are going to get
in.
excited. Why don't we try and find someone who could do past life regression for us on our podcast?
Yes. Yes. Let's do it. I'm noting it. I'm putting it in the notes.
Girl, I think there
Yes.
was like a UFO flying over your building because your internet got way better, like your connection.
Oh my gosh. Thanks.
They moved.
Thanks, aliens.
They moved their spaceship. I don't even know if that's how Wi-Fi works, but whatever.
It was really stormy out just now. Like this is a Melbourne spring. Just for anyone that doesn't know about Australian weather, Melbourne is notoriously like the worst weather, and it's really doing it. The spring is really vile, so that's probably what's happening.
My God, I bet all the spiders come out after the rain too, huh?
I mean, maybe.
You're like,
No.
they're here all the time.
They're always kind of here. I haven't had a house spider in a minute. Like I feel like a really successful Australian when I have a huntsman guarding the doorway. We haven't had one in a minute. Maybe now. Maybe
Maybe
now's the
now,
time.
maybe we're gonna bring them out.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Okay, I have to keep talking about Penhurst.
Yes, please.
So the story of Penhurst doesn't end with its closure, Erica.
Dun dun
This
dun.
The site has become a magnet for paranormal enthusiasts and ghost hunters. Drawn by its dark history and eerie atmosphere, paranormal enthusiasts visit the abandoned asylum as it is rumored to be haunted by the spirits of those who suffered within its walls. There's nothing like what's scarier than a ghost? A child ghost.
Yeah, a child goes.
A ghost
Ugh,
minor. Like children are scary anyway. Put them in ghost form, terrifying.
absolutely not.
Visitors and paranormal investigators have reported unsettling experiences, including shadowy figures, disembodied voices, and unexplained phenomenon. One of the most chilling stories is that of the shadow people.
Oh my gosh.
Dark, fleeting figures that are said to move quickly through the abandoned halls. Many claim to have seen the shadowy apparitions darting through and around corners or lurking in the darkened rooms. There are also accounts of ghostly cries and whispers echoing through the empty corridors, believed to be lingering spirits of those who experience great suffering. In addition to these spectral sightings, some visitors have reported an overwhelming sense of sadness and dread, as if the building itself is haunted by the emotional scars of its past. Like, have you ever just walked into a building though and just been like, oh my God, this is such a sad place?
Yeah, you can like walk in and like feel the heaviness.
How did you feel that kind of a thing when you visited Chernobyl?
Oh yeah, Chernobyl had it was a lot of feels. Like it's very eerie. It's a very eerie place to visit.
We need to do a full like episode on that because I want our guests to know, our guests sound like I'm at work. I want our listeners to know all about your trip. And because it's one of the most, I could never go there. I'm too scared of
Yeah.
anything, right? I'm scared of going to Target. So I could never go to Chernobyl. But I think everyone would be really interested to know about all the stuff you went through and the like everything you saw and oh,
It
I've
was
watched that on
wild. Yeah.
yeah, I've watched like YouTube videos. I think I watched yours. I watched some of your
Yeah.
videos as well. And it just yeah, I would love to, but there's just too much stuff that's gonna freak me out. I would get like 20 minutes into it and be like, I gotta go.
Yeah. You wouldn't even be there. You'd be on the bus. They'd be so mad. They'd be like,
I
"We are
know.
not turning this bus around. You're gonna sit in this bus."
Yeah, but that's what people feel like when they go in there. The haunting tales of Penhurst State School and Hospital reflect not only the tragic history of the institution, but also its lasting impact on those who encountered it. The stories of mistreatment and neglect serve as a grim reminder of the need for compassion and proper care for individuals with disabilities. I mean, it's so true, right? Like these places really, they are a part of history and they are really grim and they have very sad stories to them. And we feel and we reflect on all the bad things that happen to people there. And man, you just hope that it's not going on. I mean, there's still mistreatment in lots of kind of institutions and hospitals around the world, but at least these sorts of places are like closed and
Yeah,
done.
and hopefully we're like learning and growing and consistently like treating people better. That's all we can
Yeah.
really do is like hope to keep growing. And that's, I think it's really important to tell these stories as well, to like remember and to continue to learn and continue to teach new generations that like we need to be kind to everybody,
For sure.
except for
For
child
sure.
ghosts.
But I have something even more exciting to tell you.
What? Are we going
This
on a field
is
trip?
this is also now a haunted attraction. And you can
Field
get
trip, field
tickets.
trip. We're going.
We're
We're
going.
going.
We are going to Philadelphia, baby. Well, you could do it, I guess. You can actually book a trip to see both of them. There's tour guides that can do it, and they'll put you in cool hotels and like haunted hotels, and you can do like a little 3-day trip. It'd be kind
We
of
are
cool.
going. We're going.
I kind of just want to do it on my
We're
own, though.
going.
I don't want a tour guide. I want us to do it. I want us to figure it out.
Yeah, we can do it. We can book. I can book it.
Ghostly tour guides. So next time you are in the States, I think a trip to Philadelphia is in our cards.
It is absolutely. This has gone to the top of the field trip list. I need to see these.
Yeah, I want to go to both of them. Anyway,
I can't
that's
wait.
the
As soon as we're done, I'm gonna Google a million pictures as soon as we're
yeah.
done.
That is a little bit of macabre, gruesome information on two really
Wow.
historical places, but really gruesome history there.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Well told. What an excellent episode, George.
Thank you.
I need to give 2 shout outs that I keep forgetting to do for my sister, Alana, who did our cover art. And I have tagged her on Instagram. So if you are really interested in our cover art, you can go and find her.
We love you,
She
Alana.
is,
Thank you.
I know, Alana, you're the best. And then my partner, Rowan, did our intro music. And
Yes, he
I don't
did.
think we've ever shouted him out for that. So thanks, Ro.
We've talked about him, but we've not given him a shout out.
Yeah, correct. So
Also,
I thought it would
follow
be
him.
nice
He's a
to.
very famous piano man.
He's a fantastic piano man. He's got so many random skills and strengths, and one of them is making our intros for us.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you for joining us, folks. I hope you
Yes.
enjoyed our journey to Eastern State Penitentiary and Penhurst School and
Yes.
Hospital. Make sure you join us on Patreon, follow us
Yes.
on YouTube, all of our social handles,
Yeah.
and we're really excited.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. It just scroll up to the top. Just give it a follow, give us a subscribe. It really helps us to get noticed by more people. Share it to your friends. Give us 5 stars. Give us a little note. Write us a note. I look every day at Spotify and just wait for comments. So please give us a comment. Just like boopity boops. That'd be great. I can't wait to hear your comment.
Oops.
Comment your favorite thing about this episode. Comment which penitentiary you would visit.
Which one would you prefer to spend a sentence in?
Yes. What? Oh.
Oh, that was grim. Well,
right.
everyone,
and
thank you for joining us. Until next time, everybody.
Stay spooky.
Screw fingers.
Screw